How do you get people to actually listen to your podcast? That is the $1 million question. How to get listeners to listen to your podcast? Well, let's dive into this video and find out. How do you get people to listen to their podcast? There's 460 million people that listen to podcasts. So that's growing by the moment. So that number is probably changing daily. So how do you get them to listen to your podcast? Well, that is really important. Let's go to step number 1. Finding your niche. So important. What are you passionate about? That's the one thing I always tell people is like, why are you even doing this podcast? And they better say that they love this topic, because sometimes they'll just say to me, oh, well, because I was told to do a podcast. Well, that's not going to be very successful. So find out what you love and make sure that it is in a specific area. There's so many areas out there. So like, are you doing true crime? But then if you're doing true crime, how do you cut through all the other podcasts there? There's so many, but how do you make it really specific? Is it a certain crime you're talking about that's really well known? Or maybe it's an unknown crime that's very interesting? Is it true crime about moms who are true crime sleuths on the internet after they put their kids down to bed? Like, find out what your niche is. Like, you really need to do. Are you doing a business podcast? Is it about business fails? Is it about how you grow your business? You really got to figure it out and put your unique spin on it. A lot of people don't take a look at the different categories out there, and they don't look at what's out there before they start. Look at the other podcasts in your area. Look at the true crime podcast if that's where you're going. Look at the business podcast if that's where you're going. Look at other podcasts that are similar to yours. Make sure there's an audience out there for it. See what there is out there and see who your competitors will be. Listen to their podcasts. Write down what you like, what you don't like, what you think you could do better. A lot of people don't research enough. Research. I think I tell this people all the time. I'm not trying to be an egg, but I just want you to research what's out there so you have a successful podcast. Step number 2, where are you to record the podcast? Big question. If you're doing a virtual, do you have a room in your house that's not very, that does not have an echo, that does not sound like a cavernous cave? Do you have a USB microphone? Please tell me you have a USB microphone. Get one. They're not that badly priced. You can get one ranging from anywhere from $50 to $150 or more, depending on what one you want. They are really reasonable. Just make sure you get a microphone because you want to make sure you sound professional. If you're using a virtual studio, I say this all the time, or if you're doing a virtual podcast, I say this all the time, use a virtual studio. Squadcast, Riverside, many out there from you to choose on. You want to make sure that you are starting off on the best foot. You want to have the best sound quality. If you're thinking of using a studio, I know that a lot of libraries are starting to have podcast studio booths that you can use for free with your library card. So just go and do that. And then you have all the equipment at your feet and there's no cost to you and it will sound professional. So lots of options. Number 3 kind of goes with number 1. You're going to research what's out there. Research all the episodes that you're going to be competing with. And then you're going to figure out, what is my plan? What are my episode topics? I need a roadmap now. Make sure you plan your episodes. Plan at least 10 so you know where to go from there. Figure out, is it going to be a season? Am I going to release once a week? Figure it out. Plan exactly what topics you are going to do. A lot of people think that you just go in and hit the mic. That's not the case. That's not even the case for radio broadcasters. Trust me, there are tons of hours of prep behind the scenes, tons of hours of prep for a podcast. Doesn't mean that you're not going to come off feeling cool and loose. That's the biggest complaint I get from people. Is, well, I don't want to prep. I want to sound like fun and like it's coming off the cuff. No, you need to prep so you can actually sound like that. That's the misconception. The more you prep, the more you'll sound off the cuff. The less you prep, the more structured you're going to sound. Funny enough, more stiff you're going to sound. So prep. Can't say it enough. Step number 4. Editing your podcast, which a lot of people, they hear the editing word and they're like, not because it's a lot of work, because they think that we are going in there and taking away all their brilliant stuff they're talking about. We always have to self-edit ourselves when we're talking because we could keep talking, probably like what I'm doing right now. You got to make sure that there's substance in there, and you got to make sure there's value in there for the listener. And then the other part of editing that is a misconception is it's not just about cutting things out of your episode. Editing is really important to making sure that your levels are all correct, that the sound is good, that when you play it on Apple or Spotify or play it in the car, that you're not breaking the dial on the car because the podcast is so quiet. You want to make sure that it sounds really professional, because people are only going to listen to good sound, and that's the truth. Step number 5, getting yourself a hosting platform. There's so many out there, and some of them have really great tools on how to grow your podcast. Like Captivate is one that I really like using, and they have so many great things out there and a lot of resources to help you with your podcast. Actually, a lot of great videos. So little shout out to Captivate there, but you want to make sure you're on the right hosting platform, because the right hosting platform is going to help you when you want to grow your podcast. And not only that, you want to make sure you're set up properly on your hosting platform, which means making sure your hosting platform is connected to the players like Spotify, Apple, and any other top players that are out there. There's so many. Making sure that everything is titled properly in the description and titled. The titles are great as well. A lot of people don't realize that there's actually a lot of steps you need to do on the hosting platform to get onto Spotify, Apple, and all the other players, and make sure that it is set up properly, because that really could hinder your growth too. So make sure that you have your podcast hosting platform set up properly and use a hosting platform. But then again, I guess you wouldn't be able to get anywhere unless you were able to generate an RSS feed. You can do that without a hosting platform, but then that gets confusing and complicated. Anyways, we're going off topic. See, again, self-editing, I know when to stop. Growing your podcast, getting listeners. That's what we want to do, right? There are so many ways to do it. And I know I've talked about this before, but not all podcasts are the same. Not all podcasts have the same audience. So you got to find out, where is your audience? Not all of them are going to be on the same platforms, but you got to make sure that you're out there using the platforms to get to your audience all the time. Maybe your audience is on TikTok. Use your TikTok, Instagram, X, all those. Make sure you're using them. Email lists, YouTube Shorts are a great way to drive traffic. But just make sure whatever you're doing is you're consistently using it and you're doing it. And I would say pick a few of them. Don't use them all, because not all your audience is going to be on all of them. Again, you really got to make sure that you're putting effort into the right places for your podcast to be found. Other great ways to get listeners: collaborate with other podcasters. There's other podcasts out there in your space. Don't be afraid to reach out and be like, can I have you on my podcast? That is a great way to drive traction. We've had other people on some of our podcasts, and it's great because you are getting their audience over and getting you exposed to them. So ask them to do that, and you can do the same for them too. The other thing that a lot of people don't do, and I see some even successful podcasts with this, is like, don't not get reviews. Just do it. On Spotify, it's stars. On Apple, it's reviews. Bump those up. The more you have, the more chance of getting to new listeners. Get reviews, get stars. On other platforms, if there are other ways to say that you like the podcast, do that. Build all that up, because a lot of people don't. You need to build that up to get even more listens, or the potential of more listens. Just build it up. Build it, they will come. Kind of something like that. Yeah. Just, these are things you can do. Yes, they're not guaranteed, but the more you do it, better chance you have at getting listeners. So there you go. Those are some steps to get listeners and get your podcast started. So go do it. If you want to know more information, please comment in the link below. Hit the bell for notifications, and we'll talk to you next time.